news editors and assignment editors have found a better way to punish their journalists who do not step up to their game or who put up undesirable behavior. All you need to do is to threaten them that, hey, if you don't turn a new leaf, you're going to be covering the presidential encounter for the rest of the year. Yes, coverage of the presidential encounter for the rest of the year is enough. Just the mere thought of it is enough to strike the fear of God in any journalist because, they will come on their knees begging you that help them make better use of their time. Many have described what was said to be a presidential encounter to be a presidential disencounter with the media to diss his critics. But really, did the former celebrated journalist who is now a minister of information actually organize what many have reviewed as the worst presidential encounter ever? The irony of it. Friends, this is Backpage. It's your only satirical show on City TV. I'm Caleb Kudah. When we are back, we will encounter a satirical encounter. Welcome back, friends. This is Backpage on City TV. My name is Caleb Kudah. So on Monday, many media houses received invitations, particularly from the GIJ and the Ministry of Information, inviting them to what was supposed to be a presidential encounter at the Flagstaff House. This was changed later to Wednesday, and the president was away, he was not in town. And on Wednesday, it was supposed to be 10 a.m. 10 a.m. media houses get information has been changed to what? 3 p.m. Now, here's the thing. Journalists, by the nature of our work, are exposed to emergencies like that. We always are sent on assignments that we don't know where or perhaps don't know what it is about because they are emergencies. But for a presidential encounter, even to prepare the minds of the citizens to properly accept the message of the president, one would have thought that this would have been properly done. So why the haste, we ask? Take a look at this.
About 15 different areas comprising around 70 potential questioners. And we have shared ground rules. We have shared ground rules that suggest that an individual gets to ask a question as quickly as possible so that you can also have an opportunity to respond. So, Mr. President, we have also spread it out so that at least all the areas can be covered. We will start with the economy, and we're going to do about 6 questions on the economy. May I please ask you to come? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're expecting to wrap this up within an hour.
By 7. Not
yes, sir.
An hour. By 7.
By 7.
We're expected to close within an hour. No, we're doing this at 7. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For me, I thought that Kojo Nkrumah has been a fantastic information minister. Nearly every week we see him in a new outfit addressing a press conference. He finds an innovative way to call it the minister's press conference. And for all the information government wants to churn out, I believe that Kojo Nkrumah does it to a fault, sometimes even annoying his former colleague journalists by trying to teach journalists what questions they should have asked or which angles they should have led with their stories and all of that. So when we heard there was going to be a presidential encounter and there was no emergency, there was nothing so breaking and important to hear the president, some of us feared, is it that Kojo Nkrumah, the minister many are crashing on, is not doing his work well, that the president is not happy with him? We had those genuine fears, we had those genuine concerns, but it turned out that even the organization of the program was not to the taste of the president. For the first time, if you went to the Flagstaff House to go cover this, you were given a form to fill and you were asked if you wanted to ask a question and then the areas you wanted to ask. For crying out loud, why will the Ministry of Information and the GJA invite journalists to attend a presidential encounter and then they will be asked if they wish to ask the president a question? What's the beginning of that? It didn't make sense, and it doesn't really make sense still, but there you saw it. Kocho Pankuma said we're going to have about 70 questions. Well, we ended up having about 15 or 19. Yeah, and the president even showed up late for that encounter. And if you remember very clearly, President Kufuor, in one of his May addresses, talked about how lateness is such a bad attitude that Ghanaians shouldn't emulate any longer if he wanted to be productive. Well, the president came late, and on top of that, he didn't have time to address the journalists. After nearly 40 minutes, 40 minutes of a monologue on issues that were banal, on issues that were stale, nothing fresh, no insights, and that was how the president decided to waste the time of journalists. He talked about the drones, and many were expecting an insight, a new conviction, a rallying point where the president of the nation will carry the people along behind a project that he believes will save their lives. When it got to the drones, the president had this to say.
I prefer drones flying to deliver essential medicines to our people than an investment in guinea fowls that allegedly fly off to Burkina Faso without any trace.
I mean, clearly, that will get everybody giggling. The president threw some shades, and this is a shade of all shades, many will say. I mean, and for many people, that is the highlight. That is the most important thing the president wanted to say to everybody, all right? I mean, that he prefers to fly drones than have guinea fowls. Nobody's against quality delivery of health care, Mr. President. Absolutely nobody. Because we have had relatives who went to hospitals, they were turned away, they died on their way in taxis and in trotros simply because there were no beds in those hospitals. So when Ghanaians raise concerns about this drone, it's not because they don't want blood droned over to wherever they will be in their times of crisis. It's not because they don't want critical drugs or vaccines drawn to them wherever they will be. Doing this at a cost of $12 million is what many have raised concerns about. And Mr. President, you had the singular duty to address the people of Ghana and to tell them why this was important. I am sorry, but your response was no better than many of those serial callers we hear every day on the phone and on radio and on TV, that you prefer flying drones to flying guinea fowls that flew to Burkina Faso. For real? Like seriously? Mr. President, Nana Dankwa Kufuor, you know, even if we're talking about those guinea fowls that flew to Burkina Faso, prior to the 2016 elections, your vow and your promise to the people of Ghana was that you're going to protect the purse of this country, and that for anybody who has squandered our monies wrongly, you are going to get them in prison. Let's just say, and indeed it is a fact, that those who manage the guinea fowl completely mismanage our resources. Mr. President, what have you done to get those people to return our money or get us justice? You have not done nothing about that. But Mr. President, you find it convenient to come tell us that you are okay spending $12 million to fly drones in 4 centers in all of Ghana. And we have not even piloted those projects. You asked us to be citizens and not spectators, Mr. President. And so when Ghanaians are raising concerns and Ghanaians are raising doubts, Mr. President, this is not the time for you to show us you can get angry. Not at all. Yeah, not at all, Mr. President. You failed us. You missed it. You missed the point completely. And it's a shame that you had to park journalists in the Flagstaff House only to tell them what you are thinking without making time to listen to them. Many also think that there was so much haste to organize this presidential disencounter because the government machinery wanted to, silence the Oslo conversation. Listen to the president's response on the Oslo.
Since we came, so many allegations are thrown against transactions, against personalities of this government, a lot of the time on the flimsiest of evidence. Here is an allegation being made, I believe on the floor of Parliament, minority spokesperson on Foreign Affairs, Parliament, about a transaction that has not even taken place. And yet, a serious accusation of misappropriation, mishandling of public funds is made on a transaction that has not taken place. How then do you begin to make statements about corruption, misappropriation? And then on the basis of this bare allegation, without more, I will then say, let us have an independent inquiry. My government will never recover. We will spend all our time at inquiries, because it clearly is the pattern of the opposition to throw these accusations in the air. When they're debunked, you don't hear anything about it, they just move to the next allegation. That's what we have seen.
So for many, it was clearly a disencounter with the media to diss his critics. And that's what many are saying the president achieved in doing with this particular presidential encounter. This is Backpage on City TV. I'm your host, Caleb Kudah. When we are back, there is more.
The news, analysis, projections, and policies that affect your business, curated and delivered in a simple and timely format. Watch Business Dashboard, your most comprehensive source of business news, every weekday at 7 p.m. only on City TV.
Dancing begins.
This year's official Christmas party is here with a bang. A lineup like you've never experienced before. It's December to Remember 2018. On 24th December 2018, catch live performances from Stoneboy, Giddy, Kwame Adina, Wendy Shea, Sister Derby,
don't lie to me.
Yapodo, Article 1, Dick, Pryor, Eddie K, with comedy from Bash.
They said if you don't want to crash, they said, go for it. And so, Buffle crash, and they read that for newspaper. Buffle crash, and they hear that for news. Today, I want to experience it.
December to Remember, happening live at the Accra International Conference Center. Gates open at 8 p.m. Dress code, white top and jeans. Regular tickets going for 120 Ghana cedis and 200 Ghana cedis for VIP. Grab your tickets from the front desk of City FM and City TV, Airport Shell, Maxmart AST Square, Silverbird Cinemas Accra Mall, First National Bank branches at the Junction Mall, West Hills Mall, Achimota Mall, Accra Mall, Accra Financial Center, Tema Community 11 Gian Towers, and on Vodafone Cash, dial *110# and follow the prompt for a 5% discount. The official Christmas party is powered by 97.3 City FM and sponsored by Vodafone and Sultan Drinks with support from City TV.
I know he has, so I don't go very relaxed.
Welcome back. This is Backpage on City TV. My name is Caleb Kudah. Now, let's take you to Parliament. Earlier this week, there was a hurricane there, and they call it Hurricane. What do you call it? There's a special name boys had given to that, Hurricane Ayoko. Yeah, take a look at it.
Yes, come on. And then talk to me and ask me whether I've heard number one, number two, if anything has been done about it. That is why I brought all. Nobody's been. What are you doing?
Yeah, Hurricane Ayoko was really up and it stormed Parliament. It was threatening to kidnap 2 babies Oshapti in Parliament, but for some good reason, I think that experts came in good time. What happened there actually was that the foreign minister lost her cool, engaging the 2 deputy ministers, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa and Sam George, over the Oslo project, the attempt to buy residence for the ambassador in Norway. They thought that the amount of money involved was too much, and the government says, we've not even signed it, we've not even made a purchase, so how can you even then allege corruption? You know, it was beautiful to see our head of foreign missions actually lose her cool small. Interestingly, during the week, we had ambassadors and high commissions in the Flagstaff House, and the president expressed grave concern over some turf war and, you know, petty politicking that has been happening in these various high commissions. Take a look at this.
There's several reports of petty squabbles, turf wars, outright confrontations, and a complete breakdown in relations between some heads of missions and their respective foreign service officers. This situation is completely unacceptable and is proving detrimental to the smooth running of our missions and occasioning unnecessary additional costs. I must put on record my strong opposition to such developments. Inasmuch as you exercise oversight responsibility and control over the missions, the right of your staff must be fully respected, particularly as they are permanent employees of the civil service. You're required to exercise utmost restraint in your dealings with them, even with those who may be problematic. Those who misconduct themselves can be duly sanctioned in accordance with the law after being subjected to due process. I would advise the Minister for Foreign Affairs to investigate and act swiftly in dealing with complaints lodged by a head of mission about any officer who misconducts himself or herself in contravention of the rules and regulations that are to guide their conduct.
So after this, the president actually remarked that he has assigned the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Shelley Ayoko-Botwe, to ensure that all such petty squabbles and turf wars within the various high commissions across the world are resolved. It didn't take long for us to see her lose her cool herself. I mean, I can imagine she going to nations where there have been incidences of turf war, and she's trying to resolve it, and these people seeing her already in Parliament lose their cool, I can only imagine. I mean, you and I will not be there, but we can only imagine how that is going to be like. Now, some youth in afforestation, they are not too happy with Sir John. His name is Sir John. That's how many know him. Why? Let's find out.
Sir John must be sacked because you can't come and speak pitch of mediocrity to us here. We are not case. A pitch of mediocrity is a lie. How can you say to us that you give us 1 month pay out of 6 months? Some of our colleagues are living far away. They gallivant from house to here. Some wake up at dawn. They gallivant from Akwetema Zongo, Nibo town to here.
Yeah, we want Sir John to be sacked because Sir John is always giving us stories about the money today, tomorrow. I've worked for about 7 months now, and I've received only 1 month. 1 month. How will I eat? How will I pick a lorry and come here? So yes, we want Sir John to be sacked.
But Sir John, why? Sir John, why? Sir John, why do you do that? You know Christmas is coming. Already the season is dry. Yeah? Sir John, why do you do that? Sir John, why do you do that? Sir John, why? Sir John has been speaking. He says they'll be paid. Listen to him.
I'm very happy to announce to you that your monies have been paid into our account to be disbursed to your e-switch account. The monies went yesterday. Yesterday, and by close of the day today and tomorrow, you will have your monies in your e-switch account. Wait. If the money, if you don't get your monies tomorrow, come back here.
If you don't get your monies tomorrow, come back here. The man is telling you that I don't intend to pay. So just in case you go and you don't find the money, return and let's repeat this again. Sir John, why? Sir John, don't lie to me. Let's do something for Sir John now. Come on, let's do it. Don't lie to me. Yeah. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. Sir John, don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. Wash it. Ade, brother, Sir John, wash it. Ade, don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. Child, this Christmas, if you're a youth and you're into afforestation, my guy, and you go and you don't find allowance, my brother, you have to return. It's possible Sir John may have lied to you. I'm not sure. Maybe, hopefully, he keeps his promise to you. But let's talk about John Mahama now, shall we? People are saying that the recent happenings with President Akufo-Addo makes him look like a saint. But don't get it twisted. Because he is not at all. But honestly, I love John Mahama for one thing. He's an honest guy. John is honest. He can evaluate his own weaknesses, acknowledge them, and use them to throw shades at his opponent. I was quite impressed to hear him say the Akufo-Addo government has become a clearinghouse for corruption.
The president has become the clearinghouse for clearing his appointees accused of corruption. He has on several occasions cleared his ministers and appointees when allegations of corruption have been made against them. Indeed, it was a very low day for Ghana when the president peddled a falsehood on a panel at the recent African Investment Forum that all allegations of corruption made against people in his administration have been investigated and cleared by independent investigative bodies.
Yeah, clap for John Mahama. Apparently, he finally accepted his government was the warehouse for corruption, housing questionable gifts and corruption-tainted appointees, all in the Flagstaff House. But here the latest. He has promised never to promise again. Sorry, he actually says he cannot cease promising, but at least, unlike President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Baumia, his promises this time around will be heavily loaded and not as empty as it has been.
I will not engage in empty promises, sloganeering, populism, convenient lies, and grand deception to win political power. I will not do that. Always say what you want to hear, but I will always speak the truth. Every government faces challenges, and the best way to deal with these challenges is to be honest and truthful to the citizens of your nation.
Think about that. How do you find it? To me, I think it sounds like a cat that, comes to you after you've ostracized it for stealing your fish at the kitchen. And then the cat comes to you and says, I know it is in my nature to steal your fish and your chicken, but please, bring me back to your house. This time around, keep me in your kitchen. While I was away, I saw the other cats, and they were stealing bigger stuff, and more frequently than I did. So I need to make up for all my losses. I mean, if JM is saying no to sloganerism, Usain Bolt and all those things, and all that, what's going to become of his campaign? Just as he's not going to give empty promises any longer, ex-President John Mahama, he says that we should give him another try. He's not going to give us empty promises. Well, we'll see how that goes. It all lies in the hands of Ghanaians. But finally, before we go, there was a statement made by Madam Kelly GVG, and she says she's envisioned that by 2020, every Ghanaian should have a smartphone. We don't know. Looks like government wants to give that smartphone. We are not too sure. many Ghanaians think that, well, it's a misplaced priority because smartphones are a lot cheaper now. What is rather outrageous is the cost of data. And some even think that even the Ministry of Communication itself does not get value for money on the data that it purchases. So if anything, the distinguished minister should focus on ensuring that data is far cheaper, because people are selling their phones every day. Go to Circle, people are selling their phones to buy weed and all of those things. So if we really needed to do something, we shouldn't be giving out smartphones, right? And I asked some random people on the streets what they thought, and they played back a sound bite of the Honorable Minister, something that sounded like visionless, clueless, directionless, purposeless, aimless, whatever. That's what people are saying. Me, that is not my son at all. That's how we would rather end this edition of Backpage. Yes, it's a satirical show on City TV. My name is Caleb Kudah. I'll meet you same time next week. Have a good time.